Our discussion about social development begins on page 239 and goes to page 252. So let's think just a little bit about what social development entails. We know that social behaviors are learned, and what it really involves is children becoming comfortable being around other people, that they would learn to understand cultural norms, values, morals, that they could form mutual relationships that are based upon respect and understanding, that they would learn to resolve conflicts with other people, and learn to enjoy the company of others. As an early childhood educator, you really play a major role in the development of a child's social skills. Just the setting that you provide is a foundation for that. The activities that you provide throughout the day, and the way that you foster their relationships and their play, facilitating group times, whether it be small group or large group, and helping them to maneuver through those interactions appropriately. You, by modeling, can help them to form authentic friendships and relationships with one another. And you can really promote pro-social behaviors. And of course, pro-social behaviors are behaviors that are meant to be helpful or to benefit another person. And so through the activities and interactions that you provide in the classroom and that you model for the children, you can really encourage those pro-social behaviors of helping and giving and empathy and sharing and taking turns and so forth. So we'll be talking about the 5 basic components in helping children develop social skills. We'll talk about encouraging successful social interactions, supporting their play and helping them form friendships, helping children to learn resolving conflict and building pro-social skills. So how can we encourage successful social interactions? What we need to know is that as children grow and as they watch what's happening around them, they are noting important things about interaction and the individuals surrounding them. They'll notice similarities and differences. They'll learn how social groups tend to operate or figure out ways that they can join or participate in a group successfully. How you can help them to engage in these positive social interactions. First and foremost is that you can develop a positive and secure relationship built on respect with each child in your classroom. We talked about this in our self-discussion, and now again, when children feel secure and when they feel respected, they are going to be much more successful, and they're also going to be able to give those same positive feelings to the people around them. They're just much more likely to initiate a respectful relationship once they've seen that modeled. Of course, the relationships that you are forming with the children in your classroom are established by all the interactions that you have with them on a daily basis. Those interactions show that you either care for them and appreciate them and value them, or that you do not. So 3 practices that you can put into place that will really fuel a relationship built upon trust with the children is talking to them and listening to them respectfully, being really sensitive to the children's feelings, and validating their accomplishments or progress. Some other factors that play a role in this, of course, are low adult-child ratio, because the more adults you have per children, of course, allows you more one-on-one time with each of those children, and it gives you the ability to be able to ensure that they have their needs met and that they are kept safe. That there's a primary caregiver and continuity of care, that we're not switching teachers or caregivers in that classroom over and over and over, that their routines of the day are very predictable and responsive routines to the things that they need, that they have engaging learning opportunities, and that the classroom is a place of interest. It's also really important, as we said, that you are encouraging the formation of the relationship with each child in your care. You really want to build a classroom community or a group community, a place where not only the children connect, but the children and the staff and the parents are all connecting with one another. Because through those connections, you're able to offer the children a sense of security and a sense of community within that group. On pages 241 to 247, the discussion is about supporting children's play. Of course, as early childhood caregivers, we understand that play is the best learning opportunity for young children. Particularly pretend play is super unique in that it's really effective learning medium that makes the way for children's latter academic and social success. There are many studies that confirm that there is a superiority of the play-based models in comparison to academic curriculum models of early childhood curriculums. Now, we also know that during play, children are using social circumstances to make cognitive gains. They learn to read one another's expressions. They learn to take those cues from the other person, and then they determine how they should respond to that. We do know also that the results of these studies that determine that play-based models are more effective, that if you had a child who had either a language delay or a perceptual impairment, maybe they even have autism, that play has been found to be one of the best predictors for those children's latter language and learning success. The Essentials book does discuss 4 stages of play. Just like many other things, play develops in stages. The first stage is solitary play, and this is when children play by themselves. They may look at books, they may play with puzzles, but they're not playing with another person. Then there is the onlooker play, and this is when a child watches other children or another child play, but they do not attempt to engage with them. Parallel play is a type of play that's really common for toddler-age children, and this is when 2 children may be sitting near each other and they are both playing, but they are doing independent play. So they may be in the block area, one may be building a bridge, and one may be working on a farm, but they're not doing those things together. And then, of course, cooperative play occurs usually during the preschool years, and this is when children in groups of 2 or more are actually playing together. They have a common goal, they are discussing what to do, and they are role-playing or participating in that reaching of the goal together. When you are thinking about configuring your environment to promote play between the children, some things that you want to ensure are happening in that room. You should have multiples of popular items so children can play simultaneously and there's not waiting or the um, encouragement to fight over that popular item. You do want to have materials and objects that are going to be more fun for several children to participate and play with at the same time so that they can need to play together. Um, you want to think about the learning centers in your classroom. Make sure that they're set up so that they encourage independence and cooperative play. We know that infants use all of their senses to learn about the things around them. They really enjoy play that involves a lot of physical contact, things like singing and dancing, or using materials that have a variety of textures to them. When they're playing, we want to make sure that we provide them with a lot of interesting objects or materials and that we respond to their cues and follow their lead, imitate their actions, that we make sure that there's plenty provided that's interesting to them but not too challenging, and that we're following their interest and their learning pace. So how do we help children form friendships? Well, knowing how to do this and knowing how to maintain a friendship is a critical life skill, and much of that has to be modeled for the children. But also we need to set up an environment within our setting that really promotes interaction and working together and mutual respect. Um, what we do know is that a mutual relationship involving companionship and sharing and understanding and caring and comfort um, is something that we all need, even young children. And these friendships that are being established during their early years are relationships that are going to help them to gain trust and security. So when we're working with small groups of children, we may want to mix the group up so that children can learn from one another in a variety of contexts. We want to make sure that we give children who are really shy or reluctant some additional support and coaching on how to work through becoming friends. And then we want children to be able to find the right words, and so we may have to help them know what are the right words to express exactly what they're feeling, that they're interested in playing with one another. Of course, sometimes when children are upset, they'll have difficulty taking turns or sharing or just even being close to other children, because we know that when they're upset, they often will act out. There's some great ideas on page 248 for ways that we can support children in demonstrating these appropriate ways of making friends with their peers. And so on 248 it talks about giving them choices and offering them a safe phrase or gesture they can use, and then helping them to develop socially acceptable ways of behaving and interacting. Of course, as adults, we know that conflict is a normal part of life, but I think that we sometimes forget that conflict is a normal part of children's lives also. They have different needs, different wants, or maybe they want the same thing when only one thing is available. And so there are lots of little things that lead children into conflict, and it's our role to help children learn how to manage and deal with that conflict in a way that is appropriate and hopefully becomes independent for them. What we really want is for them to gain these conflict resolution skills so that they can be happier and maintain better relationships with the people around them. Now, High Scope in 2012, and this is on page 250 in our textbook, developed a 6-step approach for conflict resolution among children. And so it talks about we should approach calmly, stopping any hurtful actions. So if the children are hurting one another physically, then we have to approach the situation calmly and help put a stop to that. But if they are safe, then we should not interject ourselves there. And then helping the children to acknowledge feelings. We want to acknowledge their feelings in the situation, and we want to help them learn to acknowledge others' feelings. Gathering information. A lot of times children will say, I was really misunderstood. I wasn't really doing anything wrong, but nobody let me explain. We need to let the children tell us what is wrong. We need them to know that it's our goal to help them solve the problem, but first, we have to know what the problem is. We should restate the problem for the children. Once they've told us what's going on, then we need to use their words and restate it for them. Ask for solution ideas and choose one together. So if there's more than one child in this situation, we need to ask each child, what can we do to solve this problem? What are some ideas you have? And then together we're going to choose something that's going to work for us. And then be prepared to provide any follow-up support that's needed. Everyone wants to understand or needs to understand the reason behind the conflict and then what the resolution was. But ultimately our goal is to help the children learn to resolve these conflicts independently. But we want them to resolve them in an appropriate manner and in a way that is acknowledging of everyone's feelings and everyone's needs. As adults, we often forget that pro-social behaviors should be voluntary behaviors. So sometimes in our classrooms, if we have a child who hurts a friend, we'll insist that they apologize. But in reality, they are not apologizing because they feel sorry for what they did. They are apologizing because we told them to do so. Now, we can teach pro-social behaviors to a child. They are learned. We can do that by modeling those for them. We can model compassion. We can model empathy and sympathy, and encourage them to show those traits. But we have to model for them how to feel those before they are really meaningful. We want to establish positive interactions between all of the children and between all of the children and adults that are in the classroom. And in order to do that, we need an atmosphere of mutual respect and support, and those pro-social behaviors being exhibited, and then a supportive community within those learners is so important. Ways that we can help children to really begin to understand one another's feelings is, first of all, to help them put their own feelings into words, to help them figure out exactly what they're feeling and how to express that. We can read books that describe various situations that they're familiar with where emotions are exhibited or felt, and we can share those books with them. We can help children to interpret, just as we talked about in self-interpret those facial expressions and pair them with the emotion that goes along with them. We can reenact children's favorite stories with puppets or flannel boards or what other medium might work so that they can reenact how those feelings are and what is an appropriate way to react to things. some more clearly defined ways or activities we can do to build pro-social skills. If you have a sick classmate, have the children make a card. If a teacher is out, have the children make a card. Um, we often in one of my classrooms would choose different things in the community, and we would do things for that agency or that program. And so during the week of the pet thing, we would gather pet foods and we would take them to the local humane society to help feed the animals. We would collect toys that we didn't use or want anymore and find somewhere that we could donate those to children or a program that didn't have many toys. Um, if we know that there's a friend who's out because um, maybe they have a new baby coming in the family or a death in the family, then we would do something kind for that family. So simple little things that allow the children to start to exhibit those pro-social behaviors. A great one to do if someone comes in and volunteers in your classroom or you take a field trip somewhere, having the children to write a thank you card as a group to those individuals is a wonderful pro-social behavior to help them learn to exhibit.